The kids' media industry has changed dramatically over the past 90 years. The ways in which children and adolescents can spend their leisure time has expanded exponentially, and it's important to understand the changes in the industry for children's media. We'll start with the first two mass media that captured the eyes and ears of youth: motion pictures, otherwise known as film, and radio programming. In the 1920s, movies and movie theaters became a major form of entertainment for kids. In fact, in 1929, the average child attended 1.6 movies per week. Film really took off for kids when sound technology was developed for movies. And early on, young viewers were attracted to the Saturday afternoon matinee. Most of the shows were short films and newsreels, but soon family films began to be produced. Disney was the first company to jump into this market and released the first full-length feature animated production in 1937, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. While movie theaters provided a place to keep kids off the street, radio provided a means to keep kids safe at home. This in-home, easily accessible medium soon began to give film a run for its money. Children began to switch from expensive movies to inexpensive home radio listening. The radio became the hearth of the home where the family would gather together. Kids programming grew, and sponsors and advertisers soon learned the value of the children's media market through radio. By the 1930s, there were a little over 50 kids' radio programs in New York City, and home radio ownership was on the rise. However, the success of radio would not last long when television sets became available. In fact, in the early days of television in the 1940s, children's television programs were seen as a way to drive parents to buy a television set for their home, anticipating that the TV would become the new family hearth. And that's exactly what happened. Advertiser-sponsored shows like Kukla, Fran, and Ollie were developed by networks, but most of the kids' programming was left to the local stations to produce. These low-budget shows often attracted children who wanted to be on TV as a member of the child audience. There were franchises built on kids' programming formats like Bozo and Romper Room, and there was even one here in Cincinnati called Uncle Al. Ask your parents or grandparents about that if they're from the Cincinnati area. The revenue that could be generated from children's programming soon attracted advertisers and particularly toy companies in two ways. First, program sponsorship. Hollywood studios would create and sponsor programs to promote their products and interests. Enter Disneyland in 1954. This show was an hour-long, high-quality program for children in which Disney was allowed to fully promote their new Disneyland amusement park and, of course, the collection of Disney films. The Mickey Mouse Club soon followed in 1955. Second, advertisements and commercials became another way to promote products during children's programming. Toy companies jumped at this opportunity. Mattel's Burp Gun became the first toy featured in a television commercial when it aired during the Mickey Mouse Club. And to not leave out the girls, Mattel introduced Barbie in 1958. Before you know it, product tie-ins proved the incredible financial profits that could be made, and advertising agencies began to specialize in the child market. With these successes, alliances grew between toy manufacturers and networks to produce TV shows focused on specific toys. They would develop storylines that featured the toys as animated creatures, and shows like Hot Wheels, Smurfs, Rainbow Bright, and My Little Pony grew to new heights. These shows became known as program-length commercials and became the new norm throughout the 1970s and the 80s. We'll talk about some of the two other important developments in the 1970s and 80s in the next video.